All right, so this is the piece that I earlier took off my circular loom. It drew in a little bit more than I would have liked. I wanted it to be flat, and it's done a little bit of cupping, but that's not disastrous. I think that'll just change my plan a little bit for what I'm going to do with it. This is intended to be part of a bag, and rather than making the design I had in mind, which was to have two round pieces with a strip of cloth in between them, I think I will sew the two round pieces together and just use cloth to line it. So I made this piece on the Wild Hare Fiber Studio Weave Around, which is this lovely item right here. It comes with a smaller loom kind of nested in it. I haven't had a chance to use this one yet. I've used this one several times. I like it very much. It's very easy to use. And in fact, I think I will probably, in the next day or two, possibly tonight, depending on how I feel about it, do a quick video just showing how I warp it. Spoiler alert, I follow the directions that were written by Wild Hare and included with the loom, but just so you have a visual. I will say these are some of the best directions that I have gotten with the tool so far, which is nice. I did earlier take this piece off, and I wanted to just add a bit at the end here because I didn't remember to demo this while I was making that video. When you warp this loom, you have loops around each of these teeth. The outer teeth, not the inner teeth. That's for something else. Still weaving. I mean, it's not like you're going to use the inner teeth for, slicing vegetables, but so you loop yarn around each notch. Okay, so it's a little hard to see because I didn't choose my color very well for this demo, but there's a loop of yarn around a notch. And when I was taking the piece off earlier, if you look at that video, you'll see it was a loop sticking up everywhere I had warped around the edges of the loom. You will note that except for the one I just pulled out, there is now no loop particularly sticking out on the edges of this piece. And that is because unlike a lot of the weaving I do, which is done on one of my Saori floor looms or on my Ashford rigid heddle looms, weaving done on a circular loom like this is not, most of the weaving is not under tension. The warp is under some tension, otherwise you wouldn't be able to weave very easily with it, but the weft is not really under tension at all. In fact, you want to avoid putting a lot of tension into the weft, because if you make the weft super tense, if you haul on it when you're weaving it through, you don't just get something that cups a little bit, you get something that's practically a bowl. And if that's your end game, awesome, but it is usually not my end game. So the weft is really not under much tension at all. Warp is under some tension. When you take the piece off the circular loom, you take the loops off the teeth, and the warp relaxes inward to the center, which is where the tension originates. And so what happens is the loops that were visible on the edges when I took this off just disappeared into the texture, which is one of the things I like about making stuff on these little looms.